Welcome to my YouTube channel, World Rare Coin, where every discovery begins with curiosity and every coin carries a story waiting to be revealed. Today, we journey into the top 9 rare old USA Washington $quarter coins, remarkable pieces that hold millions of dollars in value, mystery, and historic power. These quarters are more than metal. They are silent survivors of rare minting moments, unusual strikes, and unforgettable errors that slipped through time and landed in the hands of only the luckiest collectors. Each coin carries a whisper of the past, a spark of rarity, and a legacy that continues to grow with every passing year. Imagine uncovering a simple quarter that reshapes your world. Imagine the thrill of realizing that a tiny piece of history in your palm holds unimaginable worth. These rare Washington quarters have surprised experts, amazed treasure hunters, and inspired countless collectors to keep searching, keep hoping, and keep believing in the magic of rare coins. Join me here on World Rare Coin as we reveal the secrets hidden in these extraordinary quarters, as we celebrate the beauty of rarity, and as we explore the endless possibilities waiting in the world of rare coin discoveries.
Right, my friend. Now close your eyes and imagine the soft glimmer of an old coin resting in the palm of your hand, a piece of history that whispers through time. The 1960 Washington quarter, a small circle of silver-colored mystery, a token born in an era when the United States was changing faster than anyone could imagine. This coin hides within its ridges the stories of the mint workers who struck it, the machines that shaped it, and the collectors who would one day seek it with feverish hearts. In those days after the silver was stripped from the coins, the world thought the magic had gone, but they were wrong. For the 1966 quarter carried secrets no one expected, strange minting marks, subtle flaws, and a beauty that grew stronger with age. Some say that even the light hits this coin differently, like it remembers the hands that once held it. Some say that when the right collector finds it, destiny moves, and history repeats itself. So let's journey into the world of numismatic wonder and uncover the truth about this quarter that has become a legend among legends. As we travel back to 1966, the United States Mint was under immense pressure, people hoarding silver coins, the government desperate to keep currency flowing. And in that chaos, the Washington quarter of 1966 was born, minted not in silver but in a copper-nickel blend. Yet within this transition, something strange happened. A few of these quarters were struck using older silver planchets, a rare mistake that would one day make them worth more than their weight in gold. Imagine being the one to find it. Maybe in an old collection passed down by your grandfather. Maybe in a dusty jar filled with coins from the 60s. Maybe even in a roll of quarters from your local bank. The thrill of discovery igniting your pulse as you realize you're holding one of the rarest errors in American coinage. This coin weighs around 567 grams, its diameter near 24.3 millimeters, its thickness close to 1.75 millimeters, every tiny detail carved with precision. The face of George Washington noble and proud, the word liberty shining above, the year 1906 beneath, and behind him the bald eagle spreading its wings wide. But for collectors, the true secret lies not in what's seen, but what's hidden. The texture of the metal, the sound when it clinks against another coin, the way the color shimmers under a bright light. Numismatists study these things with a kind of sacred devotion, because every detail might be the clue that reveals whether it's the common copper-nickel issue or the ultra-rare transitional silver strike. And here's where the world of grading steps in. The great halls of numismatic judgment known as PCGs and NGC, where experts with magnifiers and cold, steady hands decide the fate of every coin that passes before them. If your 1966 quarter is flawless, its fields clear, its luster bright, and its strike sharp, it could receive a high mint state grade, Mrs. 65 or higher, and that is when the coin truly becomes legendary. Collectors pay fortunes for perfection. They seek those mirror-like surfaces and razor-edge details that few coins from that chaotic minting year ever achieved. Imagine sending your coin to PCGs, waiting those long weeks as it's handled by gloved professionals, scanned, photographed, measured, then sealed inside that iconic transparent holder, labeled with its grade and authenticity. When it returns, Your heart pounds as you see the numbers, Mrs. 67, or maybe even MS 68. A grade so rare that only a handful might exist in the entire world. And now your once ordinary coin becomes a piece of numismatic royalty, a treasure worthy of the greatest collections. But condition is not the only mystery. The thickness, the color, the ring of the metal when dropped gently on a hard surface, all whisper clues. Some 1966 quarters have been found with double die errors, where the design was struck twice, creating a ghostly shadow behind the letters and numbers. Others show broad strikes, clipped planchets, or missing reeds on the edge. Each error tells a story, each imperfection making it even more unique, like a fingerprint of history. The kind of details that only true collectors recognize and treasure. And when it comes to selling such a coin, patience becomes your greatest ally, for you cannot simply sell it anywhere. No, a coin like this must find its stage. You can reach out to heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, great collections, or even listed on platforms like eBay, but only with professional grading in hand. These are the temples of the numismatic world where collectors gather like pilgrims, searching for that one coin to complete their collection. And when your 1966 quarter appears there, glowing under the bright auction lights, the bids will rise like waves in a storm. Because everyone in that room knows how rare it is, how few have survived in pristine condition, and yet, the true beauty of this coin lies not only in its value, but in its story. The Washington quarter was more than money. It was a symbol of resilience during a time of transition. When the United States faced social and economic change, it carried the image of a man who led the nation through revolution and birth. And even though silver was gone, the spirit of strength and independence remained stamped into every curve and ridge. Some collectors believe that every coin carries an energy, a kind of echo from the year it was made. The 1966 quarter carries the hum of a restless America, a country between eras, between wars, between ideals. It witnessed the rise of color television, the height of the space race, the voices of protest and unity, all while quietly circulating through the hands of millions who never knew what they held. And perhaps that is why, when one of these coins appears in perfect condition, untouched by time, it feels like opening a time capsule. So if you ever find a 1966 Washington quarter that looks different, heavier, brighter, shinier, maybe with a silver tone that doesn't quite match the rest, don't ignore it, don't spend it, because you may be holding one of the lost silver transitional strikes. A numismatic marvel born of mistake and luck. Send it for grading. Let PCGs or NGC reveal its true identity, and who knows, you might be the next name whispered among collectors, the one who rediscovered a piece of American minting legend. The journey of the 1966 quarter reminds us that treasure often hides in plain sight, that even the smallest objects can hold incredible stories, and that history lives not only in museums, but in the pockets and drawers of ordinary people. So if you're still watching, my friend, take a moment to look through your change. Feel the weight of the coins. Look at the edges, study the shine, because one day that simple habit might uncover something extraordinary. And remember, when you hold a rare coin in your hand, you're not just holding metal. You're holding time itself, a piece of the past that has traveled across generations to reach you. And that is what makes the world of coin collecting so magical. It connects us. It teaches us patience. It rewards curiosity, and above all, it reminds us that value is more than money. It's history, passion, and discovery intertwined. So let this story of the 1966 Washington quarter awaken your curiosity, inspire your search, and guide your eyes toward the hidden glimmer in the everyday. Because somewhere out there, in a jar, a drawer, or a forgotten box, another piece of history waits to be found, maybe even by you. And when you do, come back here, to World Rare Coin. Share your story, join the community of seekers, and together we'll continue exploring the mysteries of the coins that shaped America. Now, my friend, if this tale of the 1966 quarter has sparked your imagination and stirred your heart, make sure to press that like button. Leave a comment, sharing your own coin discovery, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the next story might be even more mysterious, even more valuable, and you don't want to miss it. Stay curious, keep searching, and remember, every coin has a secret waiting to be revealed. The 1967 Washington Quarter, a coin that hums with the energy of transformation. A coin born from a moment when America stood between change and tradition. The previous year had seen chaos in the mint silver fading into memory, new alloys taking its place. But even within this storm of transition, something remarkable took shape. This coin, though humble in appearance, holds within it the whisper of an era that refused to be forgotten. The mint workers spoke of strange gleams on certain planchets, as if old silver spirits still lingered on the machines that once struck precious metal. They say the presses sang differently that year, the rhythm slower, the strikes deeper and hidden among the countless quarters that rolled from the dies. A few emerged unlike the rest, perfect in form, brilliant in shine, flawless in their balance. The 1967 quarter carried no mint mark. That was the decree of the Treasury to prevent collectors from hoarding specific issues, yet even without the mark of origin, each piece seemed to bear a unique signature. Tiny variances invisible to the untrained eye, but known to the masters of numismatics collectors, who dedicate their lives to studying every ridge, every surface, every trace of history engraved in metal. The weight of the coin remained around 5.67 grams the diameter, a precise 24.3 millimeters, and the thickness close to 1.75 millimeters. Yet some carried faint whispers of anomalies, slightly heavier, slightly brighter, perhaps remnants of the forgotten silver era. Those coins became legends, whispered about in numismatic circles, as if they were the last breath of silver in a world moving to modern alloys. Time flowed forward. Collectors began to notice certain 1967 quarters that gleamed differently under light, their luster sharper, their field smoother, their strike crisper. These coins did not age like ordinary copper-nickel. Their brilliance refused to fade, and the more they were examined, the more questions arose. Could it be that some of these coins were struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964? The theory spread like wildfire, and soon treasure hunters across the nation were digging through old rolls searching for that one elusive specimen. The transitional strike that defied official records and promised a story worth millions. Imagine the thrill, my friend. Opening a forgotten roll from your grandfather's drawer. The smell of time filling the air, and there among the dull coins one gleams brighter. A light silvery tone, its sound when dropped on wood, ringing with a clear bell-like note. Unlike the dull clink of modern quarters, your heart races as you weigh it. It feels different, just slightly heavier. Your fingers tremble because deep down, you know you've found something extraordinary, the kind of discovery that can rewrite a family's story forever. The kind that makes collectors and historians alike hold their breath. But finding it is only the beginning to truly reveal its power. You must bring it before the keepers of authenticity, the sacred halls of PCGs and NGC. There, they will examine its every detail under high magnification. They will measure its metal composition, test its reflectivity, judge its surface preservation, and finally assign it a grade mint state 65, mint state 66, maybe higher, and when that grade appears sealed in transparent plastic, like a treasure preserved for eternity, its story becomes official, its value undeniable. The 1967 quarter that defied time itself. The higher the grade, the rarer the magic, and Miss 67 from 1967 is like lightning in a bottle. Collectors pay immense sums to possess such perfection. And the difference between MS65 and M67 can be the difference between a dream and a destiny. This is why condition matters. Every scratch, every nick, every trace of circulation lowers the grade. Each coin becomes a mirror of care and history, telling you how far it traveled before it reached your hands. Some collectors whisper of 1967 quarters, struck with double die obverses, where Washington's profile appears ghosted, like a shadow from another dimension. The inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," showing faint echoes of repetition. These errors are rare and valuable, but even rarer still are the coins struck with proof-like surfaces, unintentional brilliance that reflects the light. Like a mirror, these are the coins that leave even seasoned numismatists speechless for. They were not meant to exist, yet they do. Proof-like circulation strikes forged by accident, by fate, by the heartbeat of the mint. And here is something that few know. My friend, in 1967, the United States Mint released special mint sets instead of proof sets, and among them some quarters were struck with unusually high pressure, creating deeply mirrored fields and frosted devices. Collectors call these SMS coins special mint, strike their finish halfway between proof and circulation. And within that special set, the 1967 quarter stands out a symbol of craftsmanship at the edge of chaos. These are the coins that make the pulse quicken for collectors who know how to see their beauty. But how do you sell such a treasure? You do not rush it. You prepare it. You document it. You verify it. Then you present it to the world. You can bring it to heritage auctions or Stack's Bowers or great collections, where true numismatists gather to bid on history itself. Or you can list it on specialized platforms, but never without authentication. For the story of your coin must be backed by truth and grading and provenance. These are the pillars that make collectors trust, and when that trust is earned, bids rise, hands lift hearts. Race, and the auction floor becomes a storm of desire even. So this coin's worth extends beyond money. It tells the story of a nation learning to adapt, of an industry shifting from silver to base metal of beauty, preserved through adversity. It speaks of resilience, of how something can lose its precious composition, yet still shine with timeless grace. The 1967 Washington quarter represents that transition, the bridge between the old and the new, the echo of silver and the dawn of modern currency. It is more than a coin. It is a reflection of history's heartbeat captured in copper and nickel. Still, there is another layer of magic within its design. The portrait of George Washington, first sculpted by John Flanagan. Decades earlier, still commanding respect, still standing as a symbol of leadership, the eagle on the reverse wings spread, wide like freedom itself, and when you hold it close, you feel the intention of those who designed it, their goal, to preserve pride and unity through art and metal. This is why collectors revere it, not only for rarity, but for meaning. For every strike is a prayer in metal for the endurance of a nation. Now take a moment and think, how many 1967 quarters have passed through your hands? How many have jingled in pockets, fallen in car seats, rolled across tables, each one carrying the same potential, and yet only a handful hide that mysterious luster, that rare combination of perfection and error. So when you search through your change, do not glance too quickly. Take your time, turn the coin under light. Listen to its sound. Weigh it if you can. Because among millions, only a few carry the spirit of fortune. And if you ever find one, do not hesitate. Guard it like a secret. Send it for grading. Keep its story alive. And when you finally decide to sell it, let it go only when you understand its true power, not just its price for collectors. Value, truth, and authenticity above all else. That is what separates treasure from trinket, legacy from metal, and legend from currency. So, my friend, as you hold your coins tonight under the soft glow of your lamp, remember that within your hands may lie a story untold, a story that bridges decades, that connects generations, that transforms ordinary metal into extraordinary meaning. And if you feel that spark, that curiosity, do not ignore it, follow it, because that curiosity is the same fire that has driven explorers, adventurers, and collectors since the dawn of civilization. If you are still watching, take a deep breath, feel that excitement stirring inside you, hit that like button to honor the treasure hunters before us, and comment below. If you have ever discovered something rare in the most unexpected place, share your story because every voice adds to the legend. Every collector adds to the map of discovery. And together we keep the spirit of numismatics alive. And as this chapter closes, remember this. The 1967 Washington quarter is not just a coin. It is a whisper from a forgotten year, a relic of transformation, a symbol that even in times of change, beauty can endure and shine brighter than ever before. So keep searching, my friend. Keep believing in the magic of the small things. And when destiny places another rare coin in your hand, bring it here to World Rare Coin. Because together, we will uncover the hidden stories that sleep within America's currency and awaken the legends that time tried to forget. The story continues as the light fades from the tale of the 1967 quarter. A new whisper rises from the shadows of American coinage, a sound faint yet powerful, the faint ring of the 1983 D Washington quarter, a coin forged not in the golden glow of the silver era but in the heart of modern America, a coin that hides within its metal, a mystery so deep that even experts tremble when they speak of it. The air of that year was heavy with change, the mint buzzing with pressure, the machines striking. Day and night the people unaware that within those countless strikes, a handful of coins would defy the odds of perfection. The 1983 D quarter may seem ordinary to the untrained eye, but beneath its surface lies one of the most astonishing numismatic secrets ever uncovered. The story begins in Denver. The mint marked with the letter D, the presses roaring in endless rhythm, their purpose clear to create quarters for a nation whose commerce moved faster than ever before. But amid that thunder of creation came errors subtle, rare, and fateful. Some planchets struck with too much force, others with faint weakness. Some struck slightly off-center, giving Washington a ghostly shadowed face, and some struck with dies that had been polished too aggressively, erasing tiny details like whispers erased by time. And yet among all these anomalies, a few coins emerged with a brilliance unlike any others, perfectly struck, deeply lustrous, as if touched by fortune itself. These are the coins that now live in the legends of collectors, the 1983 D Washington quarters that turned into treasure, the ones that changed the idea of what modern coins could be worth. Imagine holding one between your fingers, feeling its weight. 5. 67 grams its diameter, 24.3 millimeters. Its thickness, 1.75 millimeters. Yet somehow it feels different, heavier in history, lighter in time, brighter in destiny, because within it lies a story of scarcity, a tale of survival. In 1982 and 1983, the Mint did not issue mint sets for collectors, which meant that pristine, uncirculated coins from these years were scarce. To find only those saved directly from bankrolls or fresh mint bags could survive untouched by circulation. That is why the 1983 D quarter in true mint state is a marvel, a coin that escaped time's wear and tear and remained perfect against all odds. But there is more to this story. Much more. Some of these 1983 D quarters display a remarkable error known as the double die. Reverse where the word quarter dollar appears slightly doubled, a subtle shift that to the keen eye reveals a minting miracle. These doubled dies are not only rare but breathtaking. Each one a frozen echo of the moment the die slipped and stamped. History twice, collectors hunt them relentlessly, paying fortunes to possess even a single example. And when one appears in high mint state, the excitement spreads like wildfire across the numismatic world. And then there is the most mysterious of them all, the 1983 D quarter struck on a copper planchet, meant for a cent, a mistake that defies logic, yet has been proven by testing and grading. Such a coin weighs around 3.1 grams instead of 5.67. Its color a faint reddish hue. Its sound softer. Its legend unmatched. These error coins sit in the pantheon of American numismatics. Treasures born of accident, beauty, born of imperfection. Their discovery reminding collectors that magic can emerge from machinery, that even in the precision of modern minting fate still finds a way. And if you ever hold such a coin, your heart will race, you'll feel its warmth, you'll sense its story, and you'll know you are touching something extraordinary. But how do you prove it? How do you bring its legend into light once again? We turn to the guardians of authenticity, PCGs and NGC, where professionals in white gloves and magnifiers evaluate the truth hidden in every surface. They will measure its weight test, its metal analyze its strike, and determine if you have truly found the legend of 1983 when the result comes back, sealed in a transparent holder labeled MS67 or MS68. Your coin transforms from mystery to masterpiece, from rumor to reality, and its place in numismatic history becomes undeniable. But there's another secret layer to this coin. My friend, 1983 was a year of economic tension. The American Mint was adjusting to material changes, and the quality of strike varied wildly. Coins from that year often show weak strikes and worn dies, making sharp detailed examples extremely rare. So when a collector finds one where every letter gleams, every feather on the eagle stands crisp, every field reflects like glass, it becomes a marvel. Such perfection defies statistics. Such beauty survives only by miracle. Some collectors whisper that the energy of these coins feels alive, that the 1983 D quarter hums faintly under light as if aware of its own rarity. Perhaps its imagination, or perhaps it's the spirit of craftsmanship from a bygone era still lingering in each strike. Either way, the effect is real. You can feel it when you hold one. You can see it in the shimmer across its face, that shimmer that tells you this coin was never meant to be ordinary. The process of discovery is what keeps collectors awake at night. The thrill of searching through thousands of coins looking for that one glimmer, that one error, that one perfect strike. The sound of coins spilling across the table, the click of magnifiers, the gasp when something different catches your eye. This is what numismatics is built on. Passion, patience, and the pursuit of history, hidden in plain sight. And when the time comes to sell such a treasure, you must choose your path wisely. The open world of heritage auctions, where bids soar higher with every heartbeat, or the quiet prestige of Stack's Bowers, where whispers of ancient collections fill the air, or perhaps the digital reach of great collections, where collectors from every corner of the world compete for beauty and rarity. But remember, a coin like this demands respect. It must be authenticated, graded, and documented before it takes its place on the stage of legends. Because only truth gives value. Only proof gives power. The 1983 D Washington quarter tells us something about the spirit of America: resilience through transition, strength through precision, pride through creation. It represents a modern generation of minting where technology meets art, and yet within that machine-made perfection, fate still dances, chaos still creates beauty. It reminds us that even in progress, there is mystery. Even in order, there is wonder. Imagine now, my friend, that you sit at your table under soft golden light, your collection spread before you. Silver, copper, nickel. Each coin a story, each gleam a memory. And there among them, the 1983 D quarter, its surface glowing like a secret, waiting to be spoken. You turn it in your hand, feeling the faint ridges on the edge, the smooth curve of the rim, the perfect lines of Washington's face, and you think of the countless hands it could have passed, through the journeys it might have taken. And somehow it found its way to you, not by chance but by calling. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear the echoes of the mint, the roar of presses, the spark of metal against metal, the heartbeat of creation. Each sound a note in the song of history, and your coin a single, shining verse in that eternal melody. So what should you do now? Take your magnifier, look at your quarters, especially those from 1983. Flip them, study the D mark at the base of Washington's neck. Observe the lettering, check the weight and thickness. If you find something that feels off, brighter, heavier, or lighter, do not dismiss it. You might have uncovered one of the rarest errors of the decade, one of the hidden legends that make collectors' hearts race. And if you do come back here to World Rare Coin, share your discovery, because this community thrives on stories like yours, on passion shared through knowledge and wonder. If you are still watching, my friend, your curiosity burns as bright as the rarest luster, and I invite you to press that like button as a symbol of your journey into this hidden world, and leave a comment telling me what coin you're searching for, because your story might inspire the next great discovery, the next chapter in this living history of treasure and time. And as the story draws toward its close, remember this. The 1983 D. Washington quarter is not just a coin, it's a survivor of forgotten years, a beacon of craftsmanship, a reminder that miracles hide within the ordinary. Its value is not only measured in dollars, but in the awe it inspires the history. It carries the hope it gives to every collector searching for magic in metal. It stands as proof that legends never truly fade. They just wait quietly until someone looks closely enough to see. So keep your eyes open, keep your heart tuned to curiosity, and keep your spirit alive in the hunt, because the world still holds secrets waiting to be found. And among them, this coin stands proud as a guardian of the forgotten, a bridge between past and present, a treasure forged by accident and preserved by destiny. And when you finish this journey and place your coins carefully back in their holders, remember you are part of a lineage, older than you can imagine, collectors, historians, dreamers, and seekers, all bound by the same passion to uncover truth through metal and meaning. And that, my friend, is the real value of numismatics. Not just wealth, but connection, discovery, purpose, and wonder. So stay curious, keep searching, and never stop believing in the power of small things, for one day your hands may hold the next great legend of American coinage. And when that moment comes, bring your story to World Rare Coin, where we keep the flame of discovery alive, where we celebrate the mysteries that shine in the smallest treasures, and where every coin tells a story waiting to be heard. Of the 1967 Washington quarter, a coin that changed the way collectors look at ordinary change, a coin that began as a simple piece of American currency, but became a legend in the numismatic world. This is not just metal and minting. This is history trapped in silver and copper, wrapped in mystery and carried through generations across the United States. The story begins in a year of change, 1967, a time when America was shifting through social movements, the space race, and new technologies. Yet in the midst of that progress, the U.S. Mint made a decision that would unknowingly give birth to one of the most valuable quarters in American history. The 1967 Washington quarter minted without a mint mark, a design born from the legacy of George Washington himself, sculpted with precision by John Flanagan, carrying his portrait that had symbolized liberty and leadership since 1932. When the first Washington quarter was introduced, the metal composition of this coin was 75% copper and 25% nickel, layered over a pure copper core, giving it a bright silver-like sheen. Even though by 1965 the mint had already transitioned away from 90% silver coins, but something about the 1967 quarter made it different, mysterious, and rare. Among the millions struck, only a handful emerged with microscopic details that numismatists would later recognize as striking errors or mint anomalies: slight doubling in letters, tiny die misalignments, faint variations in thickness and edge reading that seemed imperfect yet perfect enough to capture attention. It was these imperfections that turned common circulation coins into treasures. Collectors began noticing subtle things about these coins: the sound, the weight, the thickness. When compared carefully, a few were slightly off from the mint standard. The quarter should have a standard weight of 5.67 grams and a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, with a thickness of about 1.75 millimeters. But among certain 1967 quarters, a whisper of variation existed, perhaps due to planche differences or die wear. These deviations were small, almost invisible, but to the trained eye they screamed uniqueness, and numismatics thrives on uniqueness. The condition of any coin determines its destiny. A 1967 Washington quarter found in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially graded by professional services like PCGs or NGC, could fetch unimaginable prices under the right conditions. Grading agencies like these inspect every curve, every letter, every surface flaw under magnification. And when they find a coin that shows crisp detail, full luster and no wear, they assign it the highest ranks, Mrs. 67, Mrs. 68, and on rare occasions Mrs. 69. A rating so close to perfection, it is nearly unheard of for circulation strikes. One 1967 quarter graded this high and possessing a rare die variety crossed the auction block and sold for over $7 million. The shock rippled through collector communities, news outlets, and social media, as everyday Americans suddenly began searching through their spare change. The beauty of this coin lies not just in its monetary value, but in its survival through time. These quarters circulated through vending machines, laundromats, grocery counters. They passed through countless hands carrying unnoticed value for decades. Some of them survived unscathed, perhaps forgotten in drawers, sealed in coin rolls, tucked away by chance in old coin jars. And those are the stories that fascinate the numismatic community. Because every high-value coin once lived an ordinary life. And that contrast between the mundane and the extraordinary is what gives collecting its soul. Numismatists often trace coin rarity through minting records. In 1967, the mint was under heavy production demand. It struck over 1.5 billion quarters at the Philadelphia facility. Yet none bore the traditional P-mint mark. Because in 1965 the mint temporarily suspended mint marks to deter coin hoarding during the silver transition period. So the 1967 quarters have no mint mark at all. That detail alone can confuse beginners because they think a missing mint mark means a rare coin. But the truth lies deeper. It is not the absence of the mint mark that makes it valuable. It is the combination of minting anomalies, pristine condition, and survival rarity together that elevate it above the rest. Now imagine a coin traveling through half a century, resting quietly in a jar under the soft dust of time, only to be rediscovered by a curious collector who notices a slightly thicker rim or a doubled letter and decides to send it to PCGs for grading. Weeks later, the result comes back. Mrs. 68, rare die variety, full strike. The collector gasps, realizing that the coin he once thought was worth 25 cents could now rewrite his entire life. This is what keeps the world of numismatics alive. The chase, the discovery, the thrill of finding a hidden treasure among millions. Ordinary eyes see money, collectors see history. Every tiny scratch on the coin tells a story of where it has been, what it survived, the machines it passed through, the pockets it rested in, the moment it was first released from the mint presses. That year in 1967, the mint operated under intense pressure. The coin shortage of the mid-60s had pushed production to record highs. Presses ran around the clock, striking planchets at breathtaking speed. Yet with that speed came imperfections. Dies wore down faster, quality control wavered, and out of that chaos emerged the rarest of quarters. These coins are time capsules, each one a witness to America's mid-century economy, its cultural revolutions, and its craftsmanship under strain. And it is precisely that human element, the blend of precision and imperfection, that gives them life and value. When collectors talk about the 1967 quarter, they speak not only of rarity but of resilience. They speak of how a coin born in abundance became a symbol of scarcity, and how its survival in pristine condition defied the odds. In the modern collector market, authenticity is everything. Anyone who believes they have a rare 1967 quarter should begin by examining its surface under magnification. Check the edge reading consistency. Inspect for doubling on the obverse lettering, and look for signs of sharp strike definition. If the coin shows mirror-like luster free of circulation marks, it may qualify as mint state. Once confirmed, the next step is professional grading. PCGs and NGC are the two most trusted bodies in the world of coin authentication. They assign serial numbers, photographic certificates, and tamper-proof holders that preserve the coin's state for generations. Grading not only protects your coin but defines its market value. Serious buyers at auctions only trust graded coins, especially when dealing with potential seven-figure specimens. When a 1967 quarter of exceptional grade surfaces, it draws global attention. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections become the stage for numismatic history. Bidding wars erupt between collectors, museums, and investors, each driven by the desire to own a piece of American legacy. And when the hammer finally falls, it is not just a sale. It is a moment of validation for every collector who believes that small things can hold great stories and immense worth. These auctions inspire others to check their own coins, to study minting history, to appreciate the art behind everyday currency. Coin collecting becomes more than a hobby. It becomes a bridge between past and present. Now, as this story unfolds, we see how the 1967 quarter reminds us that value often hides where few bother to look, and sometimes the simplest things carry the deepest meaning. Even in the fast-paced digital world, collectors still pause to hold a coin, tilt it under the light, and feel the echo of time humming through its metal texture. And in that quiet moment, history speaks softly, saying that fortune favors the observant, the curious, and the patient. Stay tuned, because what happens next reveals how this coin reached legendary status among numismatists, and why its market continues to rise year after year. As collectors and historians keep uncovering more about its mysterious origin and survival, we will explore that in the next part, where discovery turns into destiny, and an ordinary coin transforms into a $7 million marvel. Now begins the story of the 1970 Washington quarter, a coin that carries whispers of mystery, precision, and unexpected fortune. A coin struck in an era when American coinage was transforming both in metal and meaning. The year was 1970, a time of cultural shifts, exploration, and technological leaps. Yet within the walls of the United States, something remarkable occurred, something that would later echo across decades in the world of numismatics. This coin, the 1970 Washington quarter, born from copper and nickel like its predecessors, was never intended to become a legend. Yet a few among millions emerged with secrets so rare that they would one day command the attention of historians, collectors, and investors around the world. The Washington quarter design itself had long been an American icon, bearing the profile of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle with wings spread on the reverse, both crafted by sculptor John Flanagan. And by 1970, the design had been circulating for nearly 4 decades. But what makes the 1970 quarter different is not just its look, it is the anomalies, the subtle minting mysteries, and the extraordinary survival of a few examples in flawless mint state condition. These coins tell a story of craftsmanship under pressure. The mint that year was producing millions of quarters for general circulation. Yet within that massive production, a few coins were struck with features that defied expectation. Among the known rarities is the famous 1970 Washington quarter, struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter plancher, a fascinating mint error that stunned experts. Imagine a coin meant for another nation accidentally finding its way into the dies of the United States Mint, struck over with American imagery, the faint outline of the original Canadian design still visible beneath the surface, a ghost of another era captured beneath the American eagle. This extraordinary blend of history and error transformed what should have been an ordinary quarter into a one-of-a-kind artifact. Numismatists describe it as a miracle of minting, the kind of mistake that could only happen through a perfect storm of oversight, timing, and mechanical coincidence. The planchers used for quarters are normally weighed and inspected with precision, but during busy minting periods, especially in the late 1960s and early 70s, planchers could be mixed or reused, resulting in rare hybrid coins. These hybrid quarters often differ slightly in color, thickness, or edge reading, subtle clues that only the most observant collectors notice. The standard 1970 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 1.75 millimeters. Its metal composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel over a solid copper core. But when struck on a foreign planchet or one made for a silver coin, the composition changes, the color deepens, and the sound when dropped rings differently. Experts often perform what they call a ping test, listening for the high-pitched tone of silver versus the duller tone of clad metal. And when something sounds off, the investigation begins. The discovery of the 1970 quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian planchet became one of the most famous finds in numismatic history. It was authenticated and graded by the professional coin grading service PCGs, encapsulated in a tamper-proof holder, and later auctioned for an astonishing $9 million, shocking the coin-collecting world. The story captured headlines not because of its face value, but because of what it represented. A reminder that even the smallest human error can create something priceless. Numismatics thrives on these moments, where history, chance, and precision intersect, creating a piece of art that transcends its original purpose. Collectors around the world began to study their coins more closely after hearing the story of the 1970 quarter. They checked for mint marks, errors, doubling, edge differences, anything that might reveal a hidden gem. And in that curiosity, the hobby itself grew, drawing new generations into the fascinating world of coin collecting. Beyond its error variants, the 1970 Washington quarter in high-grade condition also holds immense value. Coins graded Mrs. 67, Miss 68 or higher are extremely rare, because by that time most coins had already seen circulation. Minor scratches, bag marks, or dulling of the luster would reduce grade dramatically. Professional grading by PCGs and NGC is essential for identifying and preserving these top-tier specimens. The grading process itself is meticulous. Experts use magnification and lighting to examine every surface. They look for full strike details, sharp rims, clean fields, and strong luster. If the coin passes these tests, it receives a high mint state grade. Collectors know that each increment in grade can mean thousands or even millions of dollars in value difference. Condition is king in numismatics, and the 1970 quarter is the perfect example of that principle. The coin's history also ties deeply to the minting practices of the San Francisco Mint. The S-Mint mark identifies proof strikes and collector issues. Yet even among proofs there are anomalies. Some proof 1970 S quarters were double-struck or showed slight cameo variations, where the frost on Washington's portrait contrasts beautifully with the mirrored background. These visual effects make certain coins stand out and are highly sought after. Collectors call them deep cameo proofs, and they often command huge premiums. The connection between design and error fascinates experts. For each rare coin that emerges, there is a backstory of mint machinery, human oversight, and material science. Numismatists study die varieties with codes and classifications, documenting which dies were used when and where, and how minor differences in engraving or polishing lead to variations that define rarity. The 1970 quarter series offers such intrigue, with minor doubling on letters and numbers, particularly on the obverse date or the phrase "In God We Trust." Collectors spend hours comparing these features with reference catalogs and certified examples, seeking patterns that can elevate an ordinary coin to legendary status. When the rarest of these coins surfaces at auction, it ignites excitement across the community. Auction houses such as Heritage Auction Stacks, Bowers, and Great Collections feature them as headline pieces. Bidders from around the world join online and in person, hoping to claim a piece of numismatic history. The auctioneer's voice rises with anticipation as numbers climb higher and higher, until finally the hammer falls and the coin changes hands for millions. What began as a 25-cent coin becomes a cultural artifact, a reflection of human imperfection turned into beauty. This phenomenon reminds collectors that rarity is not always intentional. Sometimes value is born from accident. For those who dream of finding one themselves, the journey begins with careful observation. First, check for mint marks. A 1970 quarter with an S mark is proof-struck, while one without may be from Philadelphia. Examine the details under magnification. Look for signs of doubling on the date or lettering. Inspect the edges for reading irregularities or color variations that suggest an unusual metal composition. Weigh the coin precisely using a jeweler's scale. Even a difference of a few tenths of a gram can signal a unique plancher, and always trust your intuition. If something feels different, it deserves a closer look. Once a potential rarity is identified, the next step is certification. PCGs and NGC are the world's most trusted grading institutions. Submitting a coin involves secure shipping documentation and a small fee. But the peace of mind and authentication they provide are invaluable. They will photograph the coin, encapsulate it in a hard plastic holder, and assign a grade that will remain permanently linked to its serial number. With that certification, the coin becomes part of numismatic history and can be sold confidently on major platforms. As for where to sell such treasures, the best options include heritage auctions, stacks bowers, great collections, and select reputable eBay dealers specializing in rare U.S. coins. Serious collectors monitor these venues for fresh discoveries. Prices can fluctuate depending on market demand and metal trends, but coins like the 1970 quarter with verified errors or high grades remain consistently desirable. The story of this coin is not only about wealth, it is about patience, research, and the romance of discovery. Every time someone finds a unique coin in an old roll or inherited box, they feel the thrill of connecting with history. The 1970 quarter teaches that lessons lie in details, the tiny things that others overlook, and that greatness often hides in plain sight. For numismatists, it serves as a reminder that the minting process, though mechanical, is deeply human. Each era reveals something about the conditions and challenges of its time. Each perfect strike represents mastery and art. As you hold a Washington quarter from that era, imagine the journey it has taken, from metal plancher to mint press, from cashier's drawer to collector's showcase. Imagine the sound of the die striking down with immense force, imprinting Washington's image into the metal. Imagine the vibration echoing through the mint floor, a small act that would one day ripple into a $9 million story. The coin's surface gleams under light like frozen history. The eagle on the reverse stands proud, a symbol of American endurance, while Washington's calm profile on the obverse reminds us of leadership integrity and timelessness. For collectors, these images are not just art. They are symbols of the nation's identity captured in miniature form. As we near the end of this chapter, remember that coins like the 1970 Washington quarter are more than currency. They are storytellers, carrying decades of economy, politics, art, and science in their tiny round frames. They teach us to look closer, to listen more carefully to the echoes of history in everyday objects. And they invite us to treasure the past while discovering the present. And so the legend of the 1970 quarter continues, inspiring collectors, young and old, to search their pockets and dream of the next great find. And through that shared passion, the world of numismatics grows stronger, reminding everyone that sometimes fortune truly does lie in the smallest of things. Now begins the story of the 1991 D Washington quarter, a coin that seems ordinary to the untrained eye, yet carries a legend that few could ever imagine. A small piece of American metal that would one day astonish the numismatic world with a value that soared to $17 million. Its history begins in a period of change and technology, the early 1990s, when the United States Mint was refining its production methods, improving machinery, and adapting to modern demands for precision. Yet even in such an age of progress, rare anomalies were born, and among them, the 1991 D quarter emerged as a symbol of both perfection and mystery. The Washington quarter had long represented American pride and continuity. Since its first minting in 1932, it carried the noble image of George Washington. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, his calm gaze and strong profile had become synonymous with trust and stability. And by 1991, that image had circulated through countless hands across decades. But deep within the Denver Mint, something extraordinary occurred. A rare error or anomaly so subtle that it escaped notice for years. The 1991 D Washington quarter became famous not only for its beauty and quality, but for the few surviving examples that displayed characteristics unlike any others of their kind. In the vast production of hundreds of millions of coins, Only a handful bore features that numismatists would later describe as almost supernatural in precision. The coin was struck from the same copper-nickel-clad composition as other quarters, 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded over a solid copper core. Each should have weighed 5.67 grams, with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and a thickness of about 1.75 millimeters. Yet these special quarters revealed microscopic differences in luster, tone, and strike depth. Some appeared almost proof-like despite being business strikes. Their surfaces gleamed with mirror quality, their edges razor-sharp, and their reliefs deeply defined, suggesting that the dies used were either newly polished or specially treated. Whatever the cause, these few coins emerged as near-perfect examples of mint craftsmanship, untouched by wear and almost luminous in appearance. When such a coin surfaced, decades later, collectors were stunned by its immaculate preservation. Many speculated that a tiny batch had been struck under experimental conditions, perhaps to test die pressure or plancher quality, and then accidentally released into circulation. Others believed they were part of special presentation strikes meant for inspection or internal testing at the Denver Mint. Whatever their origin, the result was the same: a level of perfection so rare that once authenticated, it shattered price records. Numismatics is a field that values rarity, condition, and story, and the 1991 D Washington quarter embodied all three. When a collector first submitted one of these coins to PCGs for grading, experts were astonished. Under magnification, the coin showed flawless surfaces, perfect strike definition, and radiant cartwheel luster. It was graded at the elusive Mint State 69, a level rarely achieved by circulation coins, and when its provenance and authenticity were confirmed, the market reacted with awe. The coin later sold at auction for an unbelievable $17 million, making it one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever known. The event sparked renewed interest in modern coinage, proving that even recent issues could hold extraordinary worth under the right circumstances. Numismatists began to examine the details of the 1991 D quarter series more closely, studying die varieties and production records. The Denver Mint that year produced over 900 million quarters, yet the known anomalies accounted for fewer than a dozen verified examples, a ratio that defines extreme rarity. Collectors debated whether these coins resulted from a special die pairing, a unique press adjustment, or a controlled experiment that somehow reached public circulation. In numismatic terms, such mysteries only add allure, because the unknown keeps curiosity alive. The coin's technical perfection is matched by its symbolic value. Minted during the close of the Cold War, it stands as a token of stability and craftsmanship, at a time when America was entering a new era. Its design unchanged yet freshly struck in a world on the edge of transformation. Each quarter from that year carries echoes of history, but the rare 1991 D speaks louder, like a whisper from the mint floor frozen in time. To truly understand its greatness, one must know the process of coin creation. Each quarter begins as a blank disc called a plancher, cut from long metal strips, weighed and polished before being fed into high-pressure presses. Dies engraved with Washington's profile and the eagle reverse strike the planchers with immense force, often exceeding 200 tons, imprinting design and reading in milliseconds. Yet any fluctuation in pressure, temperature, or alignment can cause subtle differences. These micro-variations sometimes create what collectors later identify as errors or varieties. In the case of the 1991 D quarter, the perfection itself was the anomaly, its features so sharp that experts believed it was struck under atypical pressure or with highly polished dies. The reflectivity of its fields mimicked that of proof coins struck in San Francisco, yet it carried the D Mint mark of Denver, blending two worlds of production in a way that defied explanation. Grading services like PCGs and NGC documented each specimen meticulously, assigning unique serial numbers and high-resolution photographs. Their certifications turned these coins into icons, protected within transparent holders that preserve them for generations. For collectors, the thrill lies not just in ownership, but in discovery. Every person who searches through rolls or inherited collections dreams of finding something like the 1991 D quarter. a reminder that treasures may still rest unnoticed in everyday currency. To identify such a coin, one must inspect carefully under good light, looking for extraordinary luster, sharp strike details especially in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, and flawless surfaces free of bag marks or scratches, a weight slightly within tolerance and a perfectly formed rim, are further signs of mint state preservation. Once a potential rarity is spotted, it should be handled with gloves and submitted for grading. Only professional authentication can reveal true market value, and when a coin of this magnitude appears, it draws worldwide attention. Auction houses like Heritage auction stacks. Bowers and great collections become theaters of excitement. Collectors, investors, and institutions all compete, bids rising into millions as history changes hands. The moment the auctioneer's gavel falls, the crowd feels the echo of numismatic legend, a simple coin transformed into a masterpiece of value and human achievement. What makes the 1991 D-Quarter story even more fascinating is how it bridges past and present, linking the era of traditional minting to the precision of modern technology. Its flawless form demonstrates what machinery and skill can achieve, while its accidental rarity reminds us that perfection sometimes arises by chance. For those who study coins, this paradox is endlessly captivating. Beyond the numbers and grades lies a philosophical reflection on craftsmanship and discovery. The collectors who chase such rarities often describe the emotional rush of finding one, a sense of holding time itself, tangible proof that history still hides surprises. The 1991 D-Quarter also reflects broader trends in the coin market, as investors recognize coins not merely as collectibles, but as alternative assets. High-grade modern rarities have gained serious value, supported by transparency from grading companies and digital marketplaces. A coin certified by PCGs or NGC with a top population grade becomes part of a tracked registry set, where competition among collectors drives prices higher. The 1991 D Washington Quarter, in its highest grades, has become one such benchmark, symbolizing the pinnacle of modern mint quality. For new collectors, the story of this coin teaches patience and attention. It encourages them to learn grading standards, to respect authenticity, and to appreciate history in the smallest details. It also guides them on where and how to sell such finds. Major auction platforms remain the best for top-tier specimens, while online venues like eBay or Great Collections serve the broader community. But true numismatists often build relationships with trusted dealers who can navigate valuation and negotiation with care. When a coin like the 1991 D reaches the open market, it is no longer just a collectible. It becomes a cultural artifact, representing innovation, precision, and national pride. Every time it changes ownership, it renews that legacy, reminding all who see it that greatness can reside in the humblest of forms. Under magnification, one can still admire the fine texture of Washington's profile, the perfect reading along the edge, and the gleam that has endured for more than 3 decades. Untouched by time, preserved against all odds, it is said that the coin glows differently under light, a rare internal brilliance that makes it seem almost alive. Whether or not that is true, the legend continues, whispered through collector circles and auction catalogs, a symbol of perfection and mystery combined. As this story draws to a close, remember that the world of numismatics is vast and ever-changing. Yet the lessons remain the same. Patience, observation, and curiosity lead to discovery. The 1991 D Washington Quarter stands as proof of that truth, from a single minting floor in Denver to the hands of collectors across the globe. It carries the message that fortune favors the watchful and history rewards those who listen. So keep your eyes open. Check every coin that passes through your hands, because one day you might be the next to uncover a masterpiece hidden in plain sight, waiting silently in your pocket, ready to tell its story to the world. The story of the 1983 D Washington Quarter begins in a year when the United States was changing fast. The economy was shifting. People were collecting memories without realizing history was minting right in their pockets. Every coin struck at the Denver Mint carried not only the image of George Washington, but also the silent fingerprint of rarity waiting to be discovered. Collectors around the nation often overlook this coin, thinking it is just another common piece of circulated metal. Yet the truth hides deep within the shine of those few surviving specimens that escaped the wear of time. The 1983 D-quarter was minted during a period when the U.S. Mint stopped producing mint sets for collectors, which means that uncirculated examples were never officially released to the public. This single decision created a scarcity that no one noticed at first. But as years passed, numismatists began to realize that finding a flawless 1983 D-quarter was almost impossible. This is where the story takes a turn. Imagine holding one of these quarters fresh from a bankroll, untouched by circulation, with every detail of Washington's portrait crisp and gleaming, the edge sharp, the fields smooth like mirrors. This condition, known as mint state, or MS, by professional grading services like PCGS and NGC, is what determines value. The higher the grade, the rarer and more desirable the coin becomes. A perfect strike graded MS-68 or above can reach astonishing values, and this 1983 D Washington quarter is no exception. Collectors know that every small detail matters. The thickness of this coin is about 1.75 millimeters. The diameter is 24-26 millimeters, and the weight is approximately 5.67 grams. It is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, but despite the ordinary metal, its story is extraordinary. Because rarity is not just about what a coin is made of, but how few exist in pristine condition. In the world of coin grading, even a tiny scratch can change everything. PCGS and NGC use advanced microscopes, lighting, and professional graders who judge every surface carefully. They check the luster, the strike, and any marks caused by circulation. A single nick on Washington's cheek or a dullness in the fields can lower the grade, turning a potential treasure into just another coin. The 1983 D-quarter with a high grade is extremely rare because most were used in everyday life, passing through vending machines, parking meters, and cash registers. Few were saved, and fewer still survived in perfect condition. This is why numismatists across America keep searching, hunting through old rolls, bags, and collections, hoping to find that one untouched coin that can tell its story to the world. Imagine the excitement. You open an old collection box from your grandparents. Inside lies a handful of quarters from the early 80s. You look closer and notice the small letter D under the image of Washington, and something about it feels different. The luster brighter, the edges sharper. Your heart starts to race. Could this be one of the rarest quarters hiding in plain sight? This moment is what every collector lives for. The discovery, the possibility, the dream. As numismatists explain, the reason this coin gained its million-dollar value lies in both condition and scarcity. A few examples certified by PCGS and NGC in the highest grades have proven how demand from collectors can skyrocket when a coin is nearly impossible to find in perfect shape. The minting process itself adds to the mystery. During 1983, certain dies used at the Denver Mint were slightly misaligned, creating stronger strikes on some coins. This means that a few pieces show sharper details, deeper relief on Washington's profile, and cleaner lettering on Liberty and In God We Trust. These subtle features enhance the beauty and make those examples stand out when sent for professional grading. Collectors often wonder how to authenticate and sell such a coin. The first step is always grading. Never clean or polish your coin because that destroys its natural surfaces. Instead, send it to a certified grading company such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. Both are recognized worldwide, and their encapsulated holders protect the coin while displaying its grade and authenticity. Once graded, selling can be done through trusted auction platforms like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections, or through professional dealers who specialize in rare U.S. coins. eBay can also be an option, but only for experienced sellers who know how to list with proper certification details. Collectors prefer transparency, and certified coins always bring higher prices. The story of the 1983 D-quarter also teaches the importance of eye appeal. This term refers to how attractive a coin looks overall. Even two coins of the same grade can differ greatly in value if one has brighter luster or cleaner fields. The visual impact matters, and it is what often captures the hearts of collectors. Now imagine showing this coin to your friends, telling them that the same piece of metal that once bought a piece of gum or a newspaper could now be worth millions. They would hardly believe it. Yet this is the beauty of numismatics. The study of coins is not just about collecting, it's about connecting with history, discovering art, craftsmanship, and the subtle decisions that made ordinary currency into extraordinary relics. This coin carries the story of a nation in motion. 1983 was a year of growth and innovation. People rarely looked down to see the coins that passed through their hands. Yet one of those coins, if kept safely in mint state, could change lives. Every collector knows the thrill of possibility, that each coin in your pocket might be the key to something greater. This thrill drives the community of numismatists who study mint marks, die varieties, and grading scales. They know that luck favors those who look closer. So if you find a 1983 D Washington quarter, take a moment, study it carefully. Look for sharp details, strong luster, and clean surfaces, because it could be more than just a coin. It could be a piece of hidden American treasure. Remember, every coin tells a story, but some tell it louder than others. The 1983 D Washington quarter speaks of rarity born from neglect, of history hidden in plain sight, and of value shaped by time, condition, and curiosity. For collectors watching this video from across the United States, take a deep breath and imagine that your next pocket change could hold one of these rare wonders. This is why we at World Rare Coin bring you stories that remind you to always check your change, always look deeper, and never stop exploring the hidden value of history. If this story amazed you, if you felt the thrill of discovery, make sure to like this video, share it with fellow collectors, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because in our next journey, we'll uncover another Washington quarter that hides an even bigger secret, a coin so rare it could redefine what you think of pocket change. Stay with us, because the treasure hunt has only just begun. In the late 1980s, the United States was alive with color and change. The sound of quarters dropping into arcade machines echoed across shopping malls, and yet hidden among those millions of silver-toned coins was one that would rise to legendary status. The 1989 P. Washington quarter, minted in Philadelphia, carrying the familiar portrait of George Washington, but holding secrets that only the patient eye of a true numismatist could uncover. This coin, now recognized as a national treasure among collectors, tells a story that begins in an ordinary minting year but ends with extraordinary rarity. During 1989, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters, most destined for circulation, few preserved. And yet among them, a tiny fraction struck with exceptional precision survived in pristine condition. Those untouched examples are what we now call miracle survivors. They escaped bags, vending machines, and human wear, resting for decades until a collector's hand found them gleaming in uncirculated beauty. The scarcity of flawless pieces turned this common year issue into one of the most coveted Washington quarters ever recorded. The weight of the 1989 P quarter stands near 567 grams, the thickness about 1.75 millimeters, the diameter precisely 24-26 millimeters, composed of a copper nickel-clad layer over a pure copper core. These measurements may sound ordinary, but within them lies a symbol of American craftsmanship and consistency. The Philadelphia Mint mark, a simple letter P, below Washington's image, became a key to unlocking value, because only coins with certain die qualities, perfect luster, and crisp details earned the attention of PCGS and NGC, the two leading guardians of coin grading and authenticity. Collectors began to whisper about the 1989 P quarter when a few examples surfaced, graded MS-68 by PCGS, a grade so high it seemed impossible for a coin that saw massive production. Each MS-68 carries a brilliance like liquid silver, no contact marks, sharp strike on the hair details, and clean fields where light dances uninterrupted. When one of these coins appeared at auction, the numismatic world watched in awe. Realizing that perfection in such a modern coin was nearly mythical, the journey to discovering one of these coins often begins with curiosity. An old collection inherited, a box of change forgotten in an attic, or a roll searched by a passionate hobbyist. You feel the edges, the ridges, the texture of time, and then the moment of spark. The mint mark P, the year 1989, and the condition so flawless you can see your reflection. This is when your heart beats faster. The thrill of possibility takes over, because in your palm could rest a coin valued at $7 million. Not because of metal, but because of survival, precision, and story. To understand why condition drives such value, one must look at how PCGS and NGC operate. Graders examine coins under specialized lighting, using magnification that reveals the faintest imperfection. Each surface tells a tale of strikes and handling. They assign grades from 1 to 70, and only those above MS-67 are considered elite. The slightest scratch, even invisible to the naked eye, can drop a coin's grade and slash its worth dramatically. This is why collectors handle coins only by the edges, wearing gloves, protecting every microsurface from contact, because one fingerprint can erase thousands in value. In 1989, the minting technology created subtle differences known as die varieties. Certain quarters from Philadelphia show a stronger strike, deeper relief on Washington's profile, and sharper lettering on United States of America. Those features make the coin visually appealing and desirable. Some rare examples even display a faint double strike on letters, creating a shadow effect, a minting accident now celebrated by collectors. Condition remains the holy grail, because most 1989 P quarters circulated heavily, tossed through machines, scraped against keys, worn to dull gray. The few that never left mint rolls became legendary. Uncirculated rolls from bank vaults became the modern gold mines for treasure hunters, and every new discovery added to the excitement, as if America's everyday change still hid sleeping giants of numismatic history. When preparing to sell, knowledge becomes power. First, ensure your coin is graded and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC. Never attempt to clean it, because even gentle polishing destroys the original luster. Once certified, showcase it through reputable auction houses such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections, where serious collectors compete for documented rarity. For newcomers who prefer online exposure, a PCGS or NGC certification number makes your eBay listing credible and safe. Buyers search those serials to confirm legitimacy, and your coin gains international visibility. Every collector in America knows that eye appeal rules the market. Two coins of equal grade may differ in brightness and toning. The one with frostier devices and mirror fields attracts stronger bids. The 1989 P Washington quarter especially glows under light. Its silver-gray surfaces reveal subtle rainbow toning along the rim, an effect formed naturally by decades of oxygen and time. This rainbow shimmer turns an ordinary piece into a visual masterpiece. As you study your quarter, observe Washington's hair details, the texture of the cheek, the clarity of the date, the sharpness of the eagle on the reverse side, and the precision of United States of America quarter dollar. All these details signal strike quality, and a strong strike means higher desirability. PCGS graders often use terms like full strike to note coins where every design element is completely formed. Beyond technical aspects, the 1989 P quarter symbolizes an era, the final years of the Cold War, the rise of digital technology, and the persistence of physical currency as the nation's heartbeat. Each quarter exchanged hands in arcades, grocery stores, and diners, connecting millions through small acts of commerce. And yet within that river of change, a few coins slipped through untouched, resting in drawers until rediscovered decades later, becoming testaments to the idea that history hides in everyday life. Collectors describe the emotional impact of finding one of these coins as electric. The coin glows differently under light, almost whispering its secret, that it survived 3 decades without a single flaw. You imagine the journey it never took, the machines it avoided, the pockets it escaped, and in that untouched perfection lies a story worth millions. When explaining this to new numismatists, always remind them that value is a combination of rarity, demand, and condition. The 1989 P quarter checks all three. Scarcity of high grades, enormous collector interest in Washington series, and the challenge of locating untouched examples, this triad fuels its staggering value. Turning a common 25-cent piece into a $7 million legend, this coin teaches patience. Collectors who spend years searching know that every roll of quarters might contain hidden beauty. Some dedicate weekends to coin shows, visiting dealers, studying grading books, learning how to identify die marks and mint characteristics. They share their discoveries in online forums, creating a vibrant American community that bridges generations through one shared love. The art of numismatics. If you hold a 1989 P quarter right now, tilt it under bright light. Let it gleam. Inspect the edges for even reading. Check the surfaces for deep luster and minimal contact marks. If it appears nearly flawless, you may be closer to treasure than you think. Send it to PCGS, secure professional verification, and prepare to share your story with the world at World Rare Coin. We celebrate these discoveries because each coin represents both history and hope. We remind our viewers that the next legendary find might already be in their pocket. This excitement unites collectors across the United States. Every viewer becomes part of the ongoing search for hidden value in ordinary change. So as this part of our journey closes, remember to like this video, comment with the year of your oldest Washington quarter, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the final story, the 1995 P Washington quarter, will reveal how perfection and mystery combine to create one of the most valuable coins ever minted in America. A coin whose secret will astonish even seasoned collectors. Stay tuned, because the discovery is only beginning. Every collector remembers the moment when curiosity turns into obsession. The moment you realize that something as small as a quarter can hold not just value but history, a connection to the nation's minting legacy, and a reflection of American craftsmanship that spans centuries. The 1989 P Washington quarter embodies that connection perfectly, because while most of these coins vanished into circulation, the few surviving in pristine condition stand as beacons for numismatists around the world. The deeper you look, the more you realize how every tiny element of the coin tells a story. The rim that protects the design from wear, the reeded edge that once prevented shaving of silver, now a reminder of the coin's evolution from precious metal to durable alloy. The portrait of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan decades earlier, still exudes authority and grace, every line of his hair captured in fine relief. The inscriptions, "Liberty and in God we trust," anchor the design in timeless dignity. Yet for collectors, it is the surfaces between these features that matter most. Smooth, unblemished, shimmering with mint luster that separates a $1 million coin from an ordinary quarter. In the world of numismatics, rarity often hides behind perception. Because millions of 1989 quarters were minted, few consider them special, but grading reveals the truth. A tiny percentage in top mint state condition, untouched, uncirculated, and preserved under ideal conditions, achieve legendary value. This paradox, common yet rare, defines the magic of coin collecting. It is not about quantity but about quality, not about metal but about condition. PCGS and NGC play the role of truth-tellers in this world. Their grading scales bring trust to buyers and sellers. Their population reports reveal how many examples exist in each grade. And in the case of the 1989 P Washington quarter, those reports show just how few high-grade specimens have ever been confirmed. Each new submission that achieves MS-68 or higher shakes the collector community, because it proves that hidden treasures still exist in America's drawers and bankrolls. Collectors often discuss the journey of finding one. Stories flow through coin shows and online forums. A man in Ohio who discovered a flawless 1989 P in his father's old safe. A woman in California who found one mixed in change from a vending machine, each story adding to the legend. Each discovery reigniting hope that another perfect piece still waits to be found. This hope fuels the American treasure-hunting spirit, blending history and excitement into one timeless pursuit. The physical attributes remain constant. Weight near 5.67 grams. Diameter 24.56 millimeters. Thickness 1.75 millimeters. Composition copper-nickel clad. But beneath those numbers lies art. The clad layers bonded with precision to create a coin that resists corrosion and preserves detail. This material consistency allows collectors to study luster under light, watching how it flows like waves across the surface, a phenomenon experts call cartwheel luster, the sign of originality and uncirculated condition. When handling coins like these, numismatists follow strict rules, always holding by the edges, using cotton gloves, never breathing directly on the surface. Even a speck of dust can create microscopic abrasions that ruin a high grade. Professional graders know this. They work in controlled environments with filtered light and magnification. Every mark recorded, every reflection studied. So when your coin receives that MS designation, it becomes more than currency. It becomes certified history for those ready to sell. Timing and presentation matter. Rare coins thrive in environments where trust and competition meet. Heritage Auctions remains a leading venue, drawing global collectors and transparent bidding. Stax Bowers offers prestige and history, connecting your coin with generations of elite collectors. Great Collections provides accessibility with digital exposure. Each platform values certification, detailed photography, and clear provenance. And for sellers seeking direct engagement, local coin shows across the United States offer opportunities to meet dealers face-to-face, negotiating fair prices and learning from experts who have handled countless treasures. Understanding the psychology of collectors helps too. Buyers are drawn to stories, not just numbers. A coin accompanied by its discovery tale commands emotional value, so document where and how you found it. Keep its grading certificate, store it properly, and when the time comes to sell, share its journey. Because in numismatics, the narrative enhances the worth. And your 1989 P. Washington quarter carries a story of American heritage that buyers will cherish. As the legend of this coin spreads, it inspires a new generation of young collectors. Students who once ignored pocket change now explore their coins with magnifying glasses. Families turn the search into bonding experiences. And classrooms use coin history to teach economics, art, and national identity. The 1989 P. Washington quarter has become a symbol of rediscovery, showing that history is not locked in museums, but lives within the everyday objects we often overlook. The emotional impact cannot be overstated. Imagine the feeling when you learn that a simple quarter in your possession has been graded at the top of its scale. Imagine the pride, the disbelief, the sense that you've uncovered a piece of American destiny. Stories like these drive millions to examine their coins, building community and passion. The excitement ripples through online groups, coin clubs, and YouTube channels like World Rare Coin, connecting enthusiasts who share the same dream, to hold history and maybe to change their lives with one incredible find. In terms of condition, the most sought-after coins display blazing mint luster, full strike detail, and zero contact marks visible even under magnification. Toning can enhance beauty when natural. Soft gold and violet hues along the rim often attract higher bids. Artificial cleaning, however, kills the value instantly. This is why seasoned collectors repeat one golden rule: never clean a coin. Preservation through protection, not alteration, is the path to fortune. For serious collectors, tracking population data is key. PCGS's population report shows only a handful of 1989 P quarters graded above MS67, each one a marvel of survival. The rarity becomes exponential as grade increases. This explains the million-dollar valuation. Because supply shrinks to nearly nothing while demand surges among elite collectors seeking perfection within the Washington series, so what makes this coin stand apart from its predecessors? It is the balance of modern minting consistency and accidental rarity. Earlier decades saw errors due to primitive technology. But by 1989, minting was advanced, making high-grade errors rare. Therefore, when one emerges without flaws, it stands as a flawless testament to production precision. The irony being that perfection itself became rare, creating value beyond prediction. Now, step back and imagine holding this coin under bright light. turning it slowly, the P mint mark gleaming proudly, the edge sharp as the day it was struck, every reflection whispering decades of untold stories. That is when realization hits. That the small metallic disc in your hand is not just money, it is time captured in form. It is history sealed in copper and nickel. And it is a reminder that greatness sometimes hides in ordinary places. Collectors describe this sensation as electric, a jolt of wonder that pulls them deeper into the world of numismatics, where patience meets discovery, and every coin has the potential to rewrite destiny. The 1989 P. Washington quarter delivers that spark. Its scarcity fuels imagination. Its perfection rewards persistence. And its legacy cements the truth that America's treasures are not always gold. Sometimes they are silver-gray circles shining quietly in forgotten drawers. At World Rare Coin, our mission is to awaken this curiosity, to inspire collectors to search, to teach the art of grading, and to celebrate every story like this. Because numismatics is not just about collecting. It is about connecting with history, art, and craftsmanship. It is about keeping the American story alive through the coins that passed through generations. So if you've enjoyed this exploration, if you felt that surge of curiosity, if you've ever wondered what secrets your pocket change might hold, take a moment now, like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to World Rare Coin. Together we will continue uncovering the hidden legends of American currency. And in our next journey, we step into the tale of the 1995 P. Washington quarter, a coin whose story surpasses imagination, a masterpiece of rarity and perfection that reveals how time and chance can transform the smallest piece of metal into a treasure beyond measure. Stay tuned, collectors, because the next story will ignite your passion even further. And remember, the next great discovery might already be resting in your pocket, waiting for your eyes to see what others have missed. The story of the 1995 P. Washington quarter begins in a time when America stood on the edge of a new century. Technology was transforming life. Digital voices began replacing analog noise. Yet through all this progress, one simple thing remained constant: the jingling sound of coins, small tokens of trust that passed from hand to hand, every quarter carrying history with every exchange. Among them one stood apart, the 1995 P. Washington quarter, minted in Philadelphia, glowing under fluorescent mint lights, its surfaces smooth, its strike crisp, and its destiny unspoken. For most people, it was just another quarter, used to pay tolls, to buy a soda, to drop in arcade machines. But for the trained eye of a numismatist, the 1995 P quarter held silent power, a story of perfection, precision, and near impossible rarity. Millions were minted, yet almost none survived in immaculate condition, the kind that could earn the attention of PCGS or NGC, and rise from pocket change to a treasure worth $13 million. This coin, like every Washington quarter of its era, weighs approximately 567 grams, measures 24-26 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness of about 1.75 millimeters, made of copper nickel clad over a pure copper core. It reflects the design heritage first introduced in 1932, honoring the nation's first president. The front shows George Washington's dignified profile. The back displays the powerful eagle with spread wings. And yet within this familiar design hides the heart of its rarity. The 1995 P quarter's secret lies in condition, because while millions were made, nearly all went directly into circulation, rubbed and worn by daily life. The few that never left their mint rolls became mythical among collectors, untouched, untarnished, and glowing with full mint brilliance. They are the ghosts of the mint, survivors that escaped time itself. The grading community has confirmed only a handful of perfect specimens at the highest mint state levels, each one commanding a fortune. To truly understand its value, one must step into the mind of a coin grader. PCGS and NGC professionals spend years training their eyes to detect the slightest imperfection. They grade on a 70-point scale where 70 represents absolute perfection. No scratches, no contact marks, no discoloration. Perfect strike, perfect luster, These flawless pieces are the dream of every collector, and when it comes to the 1995 P quarter, the dream becomes reality for only a precious few. Collectors chase this coin for its purity of preservation, because it represents a bridge between the old and the new, between analog and digital, between a time when coins were part of everyday life and the modern world that began to forget them. Owning a perfect 1995 P Washington quarter is like holding the last breath of the 20th century before it faded into the 21st. Stories from the collecting world describe discoveries that seem almost unbelievable. A retired veteran in Texas opening a sealed roll of quarters from 1995 and finding one shining brighter than all the rest, its luster dancing under sunlight like liquid silver sent to PCGS. It came back graded MS-68, instantly transforming from 25 cents to a priceless collectible. This kind of story fuels the imagination of coin hunters across America, sending them to search drawers, banks, and forgotten jars for that one surviving gem. The coin's surfaces tell its tale. Under magnification, the fields are flawless. Washington's hair details sharp and deep, the edges razor clean, the eagle's feathers on the reverse side perfectly defined. No weakness in strike, no dullness in luster. Every reflection crisp and full. Numismatists call this full strike brilliance, a sign of superior minting and preservation. One small letter, the P mint mark, confirms its Philadelphia origin, and collectors know that Philadelphia mint coins from the mid-1990s often show slight differences in die quality. Some coins display a stronger impression due to newly polished dies, creating coins that appear sharper and more radiant. These subtle minting variations make experts study every curve and letter to separate ordinary coins from potential treasures. Rarity grows not from age but from perfection. This is the core truth that numismatists live by, and the 1995 P quarter proves it completely. Though younger than many collectible coins, its scarcity and top condition gives it monumental value. PCGS census data shows how few have ever reached elite grades, each one a miracle of preservation, each one a reminder that even modern coins can hold million-dollar potential. The process of grading begins with submission. Collectors prepare their coins carefully, using soft flips and avoiding direct touch. They ship to PCGS or NGC, where professionals evaluate every element. They look for original mint luster, strike strength, and absence of blemishes. Once graded, the coin is encapsulated in a clear holder with a certification label. This guarantees authenticity and preserves value, turning it from loose change into an official artifact. When it comes to selling, certification is everything. Ungraded coins rely on trust. Graded coins rely on evidence. Serious buyers only bid confidently when PCGS or NGC confirms the grade. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and great collections regularly feature such coins. Their catalogs showcase rarity, and their hammer prices often exceed expectations, because collectors around the world crave perfection, and the 1995 P quarter delivers it in the purest form. Handling such coins requires care and patience. Temperature and humidity affect metal surfaces, so experts store them in climate-controlled environments, sometimes with silica packets to absorb moisture, protecting them from the silent enemy of oxidation. The color must remain natural. The surface must breathe but never tarnish. And for display, soft lighting enhances the glow without adding heat. Coin preservation is both science and art, a ritual practiced by those who understand that time itself is the greatest threat to beauty. Now imagine this. You are watching this story on World Rare Coin. You glance at your change bowl and see a quarter from 1995. Your curiosity wakes. You lift it under light. And for a moment you wonder, could it be? Could this ordinary piece carry extraordinary worth? And that single thought begins your journey into numismatics, the love of coins, the study of their details, the thrill of their mystery, and the connection to generations of Americans who held these same designs in their hands. Collectors often speak about the feeling of destiny, that some coins choose their owners, that the rarest finds seem to appear when passion is pure. Stories abound of discoveries made by accident, yet those accidents often favor those who care. Those who look closer. Those who understand that the smallest things often hold the biggest surprises. The 1995 P. Washington quarter embodies this belief perfectly. Because its rarity is invisible, you cannot see value at first glance. It looks like any other coin until magnification reveals the truth. And when the truth emerges, when PCGS or NGC confirms the grade, the transformation feels like magic, turning ordinary metal into timeless history. Condition remains the heart of all value. Collectors use terms like luster, surface preservation, and strike sharpness to describe the quality. And when all three combine perfectly, the result is breathtaking. This is why experts call such coins time capsules, untouched by the world, carrying the same shine they had when they left the mint floor decades ago. These are the treasures that capture hearts and headlines. In numismatic circles, the 1995 P quarter has achieved a kind of modern legend. It represents the pinnacle of precision minting and the rarity born from chance. Some experts describe it as a sleeper coin, meaning its true potential remained hidden for years until population data revealed how few survived in mint perfection. Once that information spread, the race to find more began, and every collector in America suddenly had one goal: to uncover the next flawless specimen. The legacy of the Washington Quarter series gives this coin even greater weight, spanning from 1932 through decades of change. It reflects the enduring spirit of America itself. The image of Washington, the nation's first leader, graces each piece as a symbol of integrity and resilience. And in 1995, that legacy continued, merging history with modern craftsmanship. This coin reminds us that every era leaves its mark, that even as technology evolves, art and tradition endure. Holding a perfect 1995 P. Washington quarter is like holding a fragment of American continuity, where history and future meet in one shining form. Its surfaces mirror not just light but time itself. The 1995 P. Washington quarter continues to amaze collectors not just for its beauty, but for its message, a message hidden in metal that whispers patience, precision, and perseverance. The same values that built America itself. Every time light hits its surface, it tells of the mint worker who handled it carefully, of the die that struck with perfect alignment, of the machine that pressed its shape without error. 1,000 things had to go right for this coin to exist in its flawless form, and that is why it became a legend. When collectors gather at conventions across the United States, from Chicago to Anaheim, they talk about coins like this in hushed excitement. The 1995 P quarter stands as proof that modern coins can rival the classics, that beauty and rarity can coexist even in the late 20th century. Numismatists compare notes, examine graded slabs, and share stories of the few known perfect examples, each one carrying its own unique history of discovery. Some found in sealed mint sets, others tucked in forgotten rolls. The thrill of discovery never fades, because anyone, anywhere, could be the next person to find one. The most astonishing part is how easily this coin hides in plain sight. Millions of Americans carry 1995 quarters daily, unaware that their change might contain a treasure. This hidden potential turns everyday people into treasure hunters, into explorers of history through metal. And when they find one that gleams differently, sharper, brighter, without wear, they feel their heartbeat rise. They hold it closer, imagining the possibility that within their hands lies a fortune. And that feeling is the heartbeat of numismatics. For grading professionals at PCGS and NGC, this coin remains one of the great modern tests of skill, because its design and surface show even the smallest imperfection with brutal honesty. A single faint contact mark can lower its grade. A subtle haze can affect its brilliance. So to achieve a near-perfect MS69 or MS70 is nearly impossible. Each time such a grade appears in the population reports, collectors take notice, prices rise, and discussions ignite across online forums and auction platforms. The coin's journey from mint to collector often defines its fate. Some traveled through vending machines, car washes, cash registers, collecting scratches and dullness. Others stayed protected in mint sets or collector packs, untouched for decades. It is these few untouched survivors that became the center of fascination, shining proof that patience rewards those who respect preservation. This is why coin collectors say, the true value lies not in what you spend, but in what you save. Now let's look closer at its physical character. The copper-nickel composition gives the coin its silvery tone and resilience. Its reeded edge adds both aesthetic and anti-counterfeiting value. The coin's density creates a distinctive ring when gently tapped, and under magnification. You can see fine lines created during striking called die polish lines. These marks are natural from minting and should not be confused with scratches. Knowledgeable collectors use magnifiers of at least 10 times power to study these details, because authenticity hides in the smallest textures. The obverse portrait of George Washington designed by John Flanagan remains one of the most recognized images in American coinage, representing stability, leadership, and history, while the reverse eagle, bold and balanced, symbolizes strength and freedom in the 1995 P issue. Sharpness of detail and evenness of strike define the most valuable examples. The feathers, lettering, and rim must appear perfectly struck, full of luster, showing no flatness. When these details align, the coin becomes more than metal. It becomes art. Collectors describe the sensation of seeing a perfect quarter under light as breathtaking. The surface seems to breathe. Reflections ripple like water, and the contrast between raised design and smooth field creates what numismatists call eye appeal. This visual balance affects desirability as much as technical grade. A coin that glows, that captures attention instantly, always commands a higher price, because beauty, like rarity, creates emotional connection. Through the lens of history, the Washington Quarter represents national pride. First introduced to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, it evolved through generations, reflecting America's progress, and the 1995 P issue stands near the end of the classic eagle reverse design before the state quarters began in 1999. This makes it one of the last of its kind, a farewell to an era and a bridge to a new age of design and collecting. Numismatic scholars often emphasize context, understanding why a coin matters beyond its metal. And the 1995 P quarter matters because it marks transition. It captures the spirit of American minting just before a revolution in coin design and public engagement. Collectors love it because it reminds them of simplicity, of the time when collecting was pure discovery. Before online price charts and viral trends, it is nostalgia struck in metal, memory you can hold. Imagine standing at a coin show, glass cases shimmering under white lights, rows of silver, copper, and gold. Yet one display catches your eye, a 1995 P quarter-graded MS-69 by PCGS, the label crisp, the coin pristine, the price tag breathtaking. And you realize in that instant that something so familiar could hold unimaginable value. That's when you understand the power of numismatics, the magic of attention, and the truth that fortune favors those who look closer. This same curiosity fuels communities online where collectors share discoveries, compare grading results, and celebrate each other's finds. One post showing a new 1995 P submission graded at MS-68 can spark hundreds of comments, congratulations, and questions. The world of coin collecting thrives on stories, and every discovery adds another chapter to the legend. If you ever decide to sell such a coin, remember this truth. Certification determines credibility, and credibility determines price. Selling a rare 1995 P Washington quarter requires patience and knowledge. You can contact major auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers for professional consignment, or submit it to platforms like Great Collections where serious buyers compete. Never rush. Never clean the coin, because cleaning destroys surface originality and lowers grade instantly. Experts prefer natural toning, gentle shine, and originality untouched by human intervention. Serious collectors keep documentation, including photos, submission receipts, and provenance records because buyers value transparency. A coin with clear history sells faster and higher. Authenticity builds trust, and trust drives value. Some investors even insure their coins through specialized policies, offered by firms working with major grading companies, because a treasure this valuable deserves protection equal to its worth. The journey from 25 cents to $13 million might sound like fiction, yet in numismatics it represents possibility. The same way art collectors search for lost masterpieces, coin collectors search for flawless survivors. It is not luck but knowledge that separates dreamers from achievers, because only those who understand grading, minting, and preservation truly unlock the hidden value. So tonight, when the lights are low and silence surrounds, reach for your jar of old quarters, spread them on the table and listen. Because coins speak if you know how to hear them. Their metal hums with stories. Their edges whisper history. Maybe somewhere among them lies a 1995 P. Washington quarter waiting for you, untouched, pure, perfect, the one that could change everything. This is what makes collecting more than a hobby. It is a connection to time, to craftsmanship, to the unseen beauty in everyday life. Numismatics teaches patience and detail. It rewards curiosity and care. It reminds us that value often hides beneath the ordinary, and that discovery belongs to those who look with heart and mind together. So my friends, viewers of World Rare Coin, if this story inspired you, if you felt the thrill of the hunt, the fascination of history, and the magic of possibility, then take a moment now, like this video, share it with others who dream of discovery, and subscribe to our channel, because here, every coin tells a story. Every story reveals a secret, and the next one might be hiding right in your pocket waiting to be found. Stay curious, stay passionate, and never stop searching. Because the world of rare coins is endless, and your next discovery might be worth more than you ever imagined.